Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today we have my April book haul. I have a lot. The thumbnail is going to be deceptive because I can't hold all these books up. I actually physically can't. I got my first COVID shot yesterday and my arm is killing me. So there's no way I was going to be able to hold all these up. I'm really happy that I naturally hold things in my left hand because even doing this would not work out well for me today. But let's go ahead and talk about these. I have 3 different sections. I have books that were sent to me from publishers. I have books that were sent to me from you guys. And I have books that I bought. And it's a decent amount. So everything's fine. Let's do it. Okay, so we're going to start with publisher sent. So these were sent to me from the publishers. This first one is We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang. This was sent to me from Celadon Books, and this one comes out August 3rd. And this is a contemporary book that follows a woman who is involved in a drunk driving accident, and she ends up leaving California to go back to New York to recover with her family. And her family is Irish Catholic, living in New York. They own a pub, and there are a whole lot of family secrets that are starting to come out during her recovery. There's also some things happening with her family and the pub that are things like they kind of end up really needing each other, even though they're reluctant to need each other during these times. So huge thanks to Celadon for sending this one my way. Again, it comes out in August. It's fairly short, and I'm excited to see what this is all about. This next one was sent to me from Europa, and that is Friends in Dark Shapes by Kavita Bedford. This is an adult contemporary book that follows a set of friends who are in their late 20s. They're living in Sydney, Australia, and it's kind of an exploration of how they are all dealing with their own lives and then how they all come together and have an existence together as well, even though they have varying degrees of success. They have varying degrees of things that are happening in their lives and how they handle those things. And our narrator is a woman who has lost her father recently, so she's dealing with grief on that, and she's definitely going back and forth between her childhood and him being in her life, and then now where he's not in her life anymore. And so I guess we'll see what this is all about. Again, this is another pretty short one, but it seems to be one that's going to pack a punch. And this one comes out May 4th. This next one is My Ride or Die, and this is by Leslie Cohen. This one is already out. It's available now, and I'm really excited to read this one. This is about 2 friends who decide one day after a string of failed relationships that they don't want to be in relationships anymore. They're going to be in a relationship with each other. They're going to be each other's soulmate. They don't need the men anymore to fill that role, basically. So they buy a house together, they live together, and they are there for each other in every way that a romantic partner would be there, minus the romance part. And they still date men on the side and all that, but nothing serious ever comes of it because they decide, this is my soulmate. I already have one. I don't need another one. And it's working out great until one of them actually does end up falling in love. And so I think this is going to be a really fun exploration of friendship and all that stuff. So I'm really excited to read it. But again, this is available now if you guys want to go ahead and pick it up. This one was sent to me by William Morrow, so huge thanks to them. This next one was sent to me from Wendy Lamb Books, and that is Everyone Dies Famous in a Small Town. This is by Bonnie Sue Hitchcock. She wrote The Smell of Other People's Houses, which I have not read yet, but I've heard very good things about. And this one is a book that is set in Alaska, which Bonnie Sue Hitchcock lives in Alaska. And this is actually a collection of short stories that follow different small towns in an area in Alaska, and there is one common thread that strings them all together, but they can each be read separately as well. And there's going to be something that happens, or I don't know if it's something that happens or if it's a character that they follow. Something is going to have all of them come together some way, somehow, and I'm not sure how that is yet, but I'm excited to see what it is. Again, another pretty short one, which is awesome. And I haven't read anything by this author yet, but I'm excited to be able to do this. And this one is out now. Next one was sent to me from Harper Voyager. It comes out in June, and that is The Wolf and the Woodsman. This is by Ava Reed. Look at that gorgeous cover. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. So this one is a fantasy book, and it follows a village where everybody has powers in this village. except our main character. Our main character does not have powers, which labels her as an outcast. And she gets blamed for a lot of things that happen in the village because she doesn't have powers. And she comes from what they consider a corrupt bloodline. And so they have a lot of fun blaming her for all that stuff, right? So she is offered up to be a sacrifice that is needed in order to keep all these powers going and to keep their village prospering. So her entire village offers her up because she's not contributing anyway. And upon the collection of her, there is a raid that happens. Everybody in the village is killed except for her and one other person that they now need to rely on each other for survival. However, there's something different about him as well. So this sounds really interesting. Sounds like it's going to be very, very magical. And I'm excited to read this one. And again, this one comes out in June. This one here was also sent to me from Celadon Books, and I participated in a little free library campaign for this book. And they sent me a copy to keep for myself as well. And that is The Plot. And this is by Jean Hanff Korelitz. This one comes out in May, and this follows an author who is struggling. Struggling author. He's also a professor, and one of his students comes to him one day with a great idea for a book and, kind of pitches it to him, and he's thinking, this is going to be great. This is going to be like the next big hit. It's going to be everywhere. And so the student starts writing this book. However, along the way, the student dies, and the professor is left with, but this book hasn't been finished. This book hasn't been completed. This book is still a thing that could be amazing. So he decides to take it on himself and to finish the book, and it's a big hit. And now he's dealing with the guilt of, but it wasn't my idea, but I'm reaping all these benefits from it. So I think there's going to be a whole lot of talk about guilt in here and kind of the repercussions of that. So this one definitely interests me, and I'm excited to read it. I need to gear myself up for this last one that was sent to me from a publisher. I requested it with the full expectation that I would be completely ignored as the little peasant that I am, because there's no way I would get this book. And then it just showed up, and I squealed. I scared my children because I squealed. You guys, I got Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. This was sent to me very, very, very incredibly kindly by Orbit. So huge thanks to whoever got my email and deemed me worthy of getting this book. This is the first book in his new series. Now, I have not finished his first series, and I really want to do that first. So that's a whole thing. But when I'm ready to read this, I have it in my hands, and I can't even handle, number one, how beautiful this cover is. Look at that dragon. Oh, it's so cool. And oh gosh. Okay. So this is Vikings and mythology, and I can't wait to read this. I really can't. And I know I want to read Faithful and Fallen first. I do want to finish that because that really is kind of like one big epic story across 4 books. So I want to get all of that in here first and then move into his new one. However, if you want to read this one without reading anything else by John Gwynne, you can, because this is book number 1 in his new series. So it doesn't have anything to do with anything else. But oh my gosh, this comes out May 4th. You guys, oh man. Okay. I'm just so grateful to Orbit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't. Huge thanks to all the publishers for sending me those books. It was unexpected. Publishers have started sending out, obviously, physical ARCs again, which is great. And for a while, they weren't able to do that, and now they are. So I'm very grateful for that. So thank you to every publisher who has reached out to me or who has taken the time to send these books to me. Thank you. Okay, now let's talk about you guys, because you guys sent me some books, and I have already yelled at everybody who has done this. Thank you very much. You didn't have to. So, okay. The first one here is The Ravens. This is by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. This is a book that I had talked about recently, I think in a tag video at some point for something, and it was something I'd recently added to my wish list, and then Kathy decided to send along a copy to me. She sent it to me right before I had my surgery, which was so sweet. Kathy, you didn't have to do that. I've already yelled at you, but thank you so much. This follows a sorority that is in Savannah, Georgia, at a college there, and they are witches. And our main character joins a sorority. It's a whole thing. She's ambitious. It's a whole thing. So, yeah, I'm definitely excited to read this. And this cover, you guys, is so pretty in person. I can't, like, it's so gorgeous. When I opened the box, my mouth was hanging open. I was like, it's so much prettier than the pictures even. Oh, it's so gorgeous. So, thank you, Kathy. Okay, this next two actually were sent to me from Sharon. And again, she sent it right around my surgery time and said, I hope that everything goes well and that you recover. All that stuff. So thank you so much, Sharon. The first one she sent is Where the Lost Wander by Amy Harmon. I've not read anything from this author yet, and I'm really excited to do that. And this is set in the 1800s on the Overland Trail, and it follows a woman who is widowed, and she is traveling with this big group of people who, it's almost like an Oregon Trail type thing, type of book. And I've heard really good things about it. Lindsay really, really enjoyed this book, so that gets me thinking I'm going to enjoy it as well. So thank you, Sharon, so much. The next one she sent me is a middle grade, and that is Every Soul a Star by Wendy Mass. I've heard really good things about Wendy Mass as an author for middle grade readers, and I just haven't read anything by her yet. So this was on my wish list and she sent it to me. This follows three young people, Allie, Bree, and Jack, and they come together during a solar eclipse. They kind of congregate at the same spot to watch it, and then from there, all three of their lives change somehow. So thank you very much, Sharon, for sending me these two books. I'm really excited to read both of them. And this one, you guys, I squealed again when I opened the box. Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. I am so excited to read this book. This was sent to me so kindly from Maria. Thank you so much, Maria, for this. And I squealed. Okay, this is Civil War era, but there's zombies. Like I can't even handle those two things together. I'm so excited for this, you guys. And I've heard really, really good things about it as well. Actually, someone in my book club recently had said she had read it recently and she really enjoyed it. And it was like a huge surprise that she enjoyed it so much. And I was like, oh, it's on my list. And then I ended up getting it. So thank you. Thank you so much, Maria, for sending this my way. Oh. And then these last two that were sent to me from you guys, these were sent from Laura, and I was really surprised when I got them. And that is books 2 and 3 in the Discovery of Witches, or what is it called? The All Souls trilogy. So book number 2 is Shadow of Night, and book number 3 is The Book of Life by Deborah Harkness. The first book is A Discovery of Witches, which I recently read and really did enjoy. And so having these now to read as well is going to be great, because I do want to watch the TV show, but I want to read the trilogy first. So now I can, because I have the other 2 books in the trilogy. And this follows witches and vampires who are teaming up together, even though they're not supposed to, they're kind of enemies, and solving some mysteries and stuff like that. So thank you so much, Laura. I really appreciate it. You guys were way too kind, like seriously. Okay, just a few more. The rest of these are books that I purchased myself. Let's start with Book of the Month. My pick for this month for April was People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I cannot wait to read this. This is an adult romance that follows 2 friends who take vacations every year together until something happens on one vacation that kind of ruins their friendship. And we jump to 10 years later and they decide they need to take another vacation together because they're missing their friendship. And so they do that. And I believe this is what happens on that vacation. So very, very excited to read this. It's on my 5-star predictions, so I will be reading it very soon. I also added on another book for Book of the Month, and I added on One by One by Ruth Ware. Now, fully blame Audrey from Chapter and Converse on this. She talked me into this one. Her one of her favorite tropes in a book is an isolated thriller, like an isolated incident. People are trapped somewhere, they can't get out, and that's what this is. And this is supposed to be maybe a little bit inspired by And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. but not like a complete retelling from what I'm understanding. Ruth Ware and I have a rocky relationship. I read one of her books and gave it 3 stars. It was just fine. And then I DNF'd another book. So I'm not sure about her as an author, but I'm still willing to try. And I have a couple of her books, so I'm not ready to give up on her. But I did add this one on for the month of April, so we'll see how this goes. The next one I have here is a book that I actually bought when we were in Boston recently. I went to the Brattle bookstore, and they have this huge outside area where books are deeply discounted. And I found Dragonfly by Layla Meacham for $5, and it's a hardback. You guys, the cheapest I could find it online was $10 in hardback, and I found it for $5 at the Brattle. It's like, yes. So I snatched this up real quick because this has been on my radar. I have not read anything by her yet, but I do now own, I think this is the 4th book of hers I own now. And I've heard really good things about her as an author. And this is a World War II historical fiction that is set in Paris, as you can see. So I'm definitely excited to read this. And $5, couldn't pass it up. This next one I have is one that I bought from Starla, who has her own channel as well. It's Starla Reads. I will leave a link down below if you guys want to go check it out. She recently moved and did a whole moving vlog and everything, and she was purging a ton of her books. I think she got rid of like 200 books, you guys, and she put them up for sale. And so I went and checked out her sale site, and I ended up getting A Daughter of the Burning City by Amanda Foody. This is a circus or carnival type of town, as you can see down here. And this one's been on my radar because of that. So I knew this had some sort of a circus or carnival theme somehow. I don't know if it's the main focus of the book or not, but it's definitely magical. And it does say the city will burn forevermore. So it's a fantasy set in Gomorrah Festival. So that's all I really want to know. Don't want to get too into it, but you guys know that circuses, festivals, carnivals, buzzwords for me. The next one I grabbed, I got at Barnes & Noble, and that is A Keeper of the Lost Cities Exile. This is book number 2 in the Keeper of the Lost Cities series by Shannon Messenger. I just recently read the first one and absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. And so I'm excited to keep on going. And I did not have book 2 yet in paperback. So I went ahead and just ran to Barnes & Noble and grabbed it. So I'm excited to read this one. This one follows a young girl named Sophie who finds out that she is an elf, and she goes to live in the elven world. And it's such a big adventure. I loved it. It's middle grade. It was fantastic. So book number 2, I'm ready. And last but not least, at that Barnes & Noble, I decided to go get a coffee because that's what I do. And sometimes they will have a table of a book that if you buy something at the cafe, you can get this book for $5. And they got me this time. I don't always go for what's there. And, you know, it changes periodically. But this time I grabbed it because I was like, I've heard really good things about that book. I want to read this author. I haven't done it yet. And so I grabbed it for $5 while I could. And that is The Downstairs Girl by Stacey Lee. I've heard really, really good things about this book. I think it's set in 1890 in Atlanta. And it is a woman who is working in this house. And she also moonlights as a newspaper advice columnist called Dear Miss Sweetie. And so she gives people advice. And so I'm really interested in this book. And again, I've heard really good things about it. So for $5, I could not pass it up. Okay, guys. Don't know how I collected so many books this month. I was really trying to be good and I just wasn't. And it's whatever, right? It's fine. Okay, so hopefully, fingers crossed, May will not be so bad. I'm making a conscious effort to not buy books unless I want to read them right away. I'm really trying to do that. It's hard. It is very hard. I caught myself wanting to go to the thrift store the other day and I was like, nope, because whatever you buy, you're not going to read right away. So just stop it, Sarah. I'm really trying to not do that. Okay, it's fine. Everything's fine. All right, I'm going to go before I get myself in more trouble. And again, Huge thanks to you guys for everyone who sent me books. You did not have to do that at all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, though. And to the publishers who sent me books as well, thank you so much. And I'm not thanking myself for buying all these books. I'm not going to do that. Let me know if you guys have read any of these books. What should I start with? What should I read really soon? I know I'm going to be reading Emily Henry because that's a 5-star prediction. But if there's anything else on this list, let me know what I should make a priority here soon. And I'll see about doing that. Okay, hope you guys have a great day. Bye.